Hey, ¿qué pasó, mi gente? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Luis Lopez, and today I'm going to walk you through some picks that I have for the NFL Sunday main slate. Let's get right into them. First pick that I have for you is from this game. The Bills are taking on the Jets. This game has a 6.5 point spread, 47.5 game total. Regarding Garrett Wilson, in the prior game, he ended up getting 95 receiving yards on 9 targets and 7 receptions against the Steelers, who allow 30 receiving yards per reception. Now he's going up against the Bills in a game that they should be trailing. The Bills allow 31 yards per reception. They also rank 29th against his position. So they're pretty bad against his position. And on top of that, Gary Wilson is the number one guy, so you expect the Jets to be trailing, so which means Gary Wilson should get even more targets than he had last week. Now let's look at what the books are saying. As of right now, the most reliable book, Pinnacle, has him at 60.5, favorite to go on the over at minus 125, and we get a softer line at 59.5 on Price Pick. So Gary Wilson, everything tells me that he should be able to go over 59.5 receiving yards. Now, this being one of my favorite games, also in DFS, I'm going to stack this game. I usually like to take on two receivers from both sides because I expect them to do both wells in a game that has a 47.5 game total with a 6.5 point spread. So the guy that I took on the other side is Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman finally came out of his shelf. It's no longer the Shakir show. I was shocked why Keon Coleman wasn't targeted more last season. This year, finally, he ended up getting 11 targets last week against the Ravens and ended up getting 8 receptions. In this game, he went up against the Ravens, who allowed 25 yards per reception. In this game, he's going up against the Jets that allowed 22 yards per reception. And DK Metcalf, his line was a 54.5, ended up getting 83. Austin, his line was 22.5. He ended up getting 70 yards. So Keon Coleman being the main man, finally, Buffalo, should be able to easily get over this line. Let me show this the right line they're giving us right now. Price Pick has him at 46.5. What the line? I got him at 45.5 receiving yards. Pinnacle is saying that it's pretty much an even bet at 46.5 receiving yards. I still like it at 46.5 receiving yards. If you could find it at 44.5, great, play it there. But Price Picks has it at 46.5. Underdog has it at 46.5. Again, still confident there based on what Metcalf did last week, based on what Austin did last week, based on what he did last week, and based on the fact that the Bills, I expect the Bills to be ahead. And in order to be ahead, they need to get yardage and they need to score touchdowns. So I think Keon Coleman will be involved in either scoring touchdown or definitely getting a bunch of yards. He can easily get this into reception. All right, so Keon Coleman over his 45 point, I'm going to give you the regular line that's already on Price Pick, although it's bumped from the one I got, over 46.5 receiving yards. Double checking my next picks for you. I got to go backwards now. Yes, right here. Seattle Seahawks are taking on the Steelers, and I'm going to this guy. JSN. There's a couple of things that stand out to me about JSN. Sam Darnold is the QB there. Sam Darnold grabs a guy, holds onto him, and targets him tremendously, like over and over. He finds out who's the number one guy, builds a rapport with him, and targets him a ton. It's what he did last week. He ended up targeting JSN, the number one guy there. Now basically he has no competition. Metcalf is not there. He ended up getting 13 targets, ended up getting 9 reception. A team that allows 13 receiving yards per reception. In this game versus the Steelers that allow 30 yards per reception, a team that just allowed Gary Wilson to get 95 yards on them. I don't see how JSN doesn't get over this line even better. At 67.5 receiving yards, which is already favored on Pinnacle by minus 120 to go on the over. And FanDuel, my second most reliable book, already bumped it 3 yards to 70.5. Yeah, JSN is, I have him in DFS. I have Wilson in DFS. I expect him to basically rock the yardage. I expect JSN to get into the end zone, and I also expect Wilson to get into the end zone. Hence why I'm playing them in my DFS lineup. And the next game that I have for you is right here. The San Francisco 49ers are taking on the New Orleans Saints. And I'm going to Christian McCaffrey by default in a difficult matchup for receiving backs. But Christian McCaffrey, now that Kittle is out, he takes over Kittle's spot. Plus, Christian McCaffrey last week against the Seahawks ended up getting 10 targets and 9 receptions in a softer matchup. Now he gets a difficult matchup, but by default, without Kittle there, Jennings hasn't practiced the entire week. I mean, by default, it's just going to be Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey that are going to get all the targets. And Christian McCaffrey can go over 33.5 receiving yards on 2 receptions. Literally, we know that. He can go over this line in 1 reception. But imagine now with no Kittle and no Jennings. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey over 33.5 receiving yards. FanDuel already bumped it to 34.5, but again, I would take it at 34.5 without blinking an eye. The next play that I have for you is actually a running back. And as always, his rushing yards. And it's not the main guy, James Conner, which I hear people talking about him, and I don't blame him. The guy I'm going to is Trey Benson. Trey Benson last week, only 8 rush attempts, 8.6 yards per carry. Guy is dynamic, period. Now he's going up against the worst defense when it comes down to running backs in the entire NFL. I'm not going with James Conner. I'm just going to go with Trey Benson because I think Trey Benson, even in his 8 rush attempts that he might even get even more rush attempts because I think this game will get out of hand pretty fast. The Saints was a closer game down to the wire where they only won by 7. I think this game against the Panthers, they should totally control. James Conner would do his damage early. Marvin Harrison would do his damage early. And I think they'll just use Trey Benson all the way down to the end. He should rock this line. Where's his line at? This is a 36.5. Let me see if I got the line. I got his line. Yeah, I got his line at 36.5. And I'm confident that he'll definitely easily go over 36.5 rushing yards. Yes. One of my favorite plays of the day. Here we go. Where are you? Hunter Henry, receiving yards. Love this guy. Hunter Henry, over 35. Okay, let me see if I want to make sure I give you the same exact line that I got. Hunter Henry, over 33.5 receiving yards. Let me make sure that. All right, Price Picks already bumped to 35.5. Still good. Still good. I got it at 33.5 receiving yards at minus 178. The Pinnacle had it. Should easily go over 33.5. That's what I got. Still think it could go over 35.5 receiving yards. Hunter Henry against a team that allows that are almost they're ranked 31st against his position, where he gets 62% of his targets right there in the middle. I mean, 2 receptions. Boom. Hunter Henry goes on the over. Last week against the Raiders, 16.5 receiving yards per reception. He ended up getting 66 yards. And Warren just had 76 yards against the Dolphins. So yeah, Hunter Henry averages 38.6 yards per reception on the graph. Favorite to go over, let's see. Pinnacle has it over 143. Sleeper has him favored to go over 34.5 minus 143. Everyone else is pretty even at 35.5. Again, that line doesn't scare me at 35.5 with Hunter Henry whatsoever, especially when you look at this. Let me show you. Player, 60% right here in line. Opposition defense, 31st. Right? That's what I'm looking at. This and what he did last week and how they rank versus the position. They rank 30th against his position and 31st versus dominant target zone and completion allow, also 31st. Pretty horrific. I didn't expect the Dolphins to be as bad as they seem to be. So yeah, So, my friends, those are the picks that I have for you. I have a lean. I'll share a lean with you. Why not? What the heck? Where are you? Buffalo? No. Baltimore. Yeah. Ravens should control this game. I think Justice Hill is going to have a great rushing game. Of course, they won't give me that yet. If you find Justice Hill's line at 10.5 or 15.5 rushing, go for it. I'm going for it. I just can't find it. I think it's going to be Justice Hill, Derrick Henry, Lamar game. I think Mark Andrews zone. I took in at under 3.5 receiving targets. I just think that they don't need Mark Andrews not to beat the Browns. I don't think they're going to need him. He may get 1 or 2 receptions. Last week, he ended up getting targeted once. In a game that they dominated, he ended up getting 1 reception. And another game that they'll dominate, just don't think they're going to need him. I took him under 3.5 reception. So yeah. All right, my friends, that is all I have for you. Hey, use these picks as you wish. I wish you the best of luck. Hope you cash. God bless you and your family. Que Dios te bendiga. Y I'll see you next time. Hasta la próxima.